It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. Ulike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
Thursday. Here we go now. The Pete Sousa Show. We are live here in Central Texas, 21st floor of the Alico building. Thanks so much to our sponsors who help us get this thing going, who actually get this thing going. Slovacics, of course. You got to stop at Slovacics if you're headed towards Dallas, or if you're in Dallas and you're headed towards Austin, or if you're on 35. I don't know where you're going, but I know you should stop at Slovacics. Gas up, get some kolaches, and it's a wonderland in there. And if you're not from Texas, it's really a destination for you, especially if you're just traveling through town. Crawford Austin Properties, Socorro Family Ford, the Extraco Bank, and of course D1. We and Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. I think I said them twice, but if I did, it's well worth it. They're the real deal. Lot to get to today. Of course, the NBA. the Thunder advancing last night to the NBA Finals. That first game will be next Thursday. Who will they take on? We'll find out tonight. The Knicks are a 4-point favorite at home with their backs against the wall against the Indiana Pacers. I think that line is a little high. In fact, I think that Indiana will dispatch of the Knicks tonight, much to my chagrin, as I'd love to see the series go longer, but I just feel like the Pacers have their number. And yeah, but again, tonight will be theater. It's Madison Square Garden. It's prime time. It's the Eastern Conference Finals, and I wouldn't count the Knicks out. But if I was to, wager on the game, which I am not going to, I would take the Pacers there. And we're also going to be joined by Emmy-winning journalist Nick Picht. He's going to get with us to talk a little bit about the Yankees and Major League Baseball and a little sports potpourri, because Nick is always a real piece of work and an entertaining guy and a compelling dude. We start with some bad, awful news. And I had seen a tweet about this before we went off the air yesterday. And it was the only tweet that was out there. It was sent to me by Scotty. Zach Burke, by the way, is on the wheels of steel today. Scotty is out with an illness, so Zach is like kicking ass filling in. But Scotty sent me the tweet that Alex Foster, a redshirt freshman who was returning to Baylor for his second year on the football team, had been shot and killed in Greenville, Mississippi. And I didn't want to – I didn't feel right about talking about it because I didn't have like a second source, and it just wasn't my – I don't know. It wasn't my place. I had just seen it. The show was ending. But Baylor put out official word yesterday. The quote saying, "We are heartbroken, by the unexpected loss of Alex Foster, a beloved member of our football family. Our deepest condolences are with Alex's family and all who loved him as we lift them up in prayer, and now in the days to come. That was a joint statement from Dave Aranda and from Baylor Athletic Director Mack Rhodes. Dave Aranda added in a social media post, "Alex was a beloved member of our Baylor family, and we are devastated by this loss. In his time at Baylor, he made a long-lasting impact on all of us in the program. Our hearts are broken, and our prayers are with his family, friends, and all those who loved him so deeply." To get into, it's unfortunate because I've searched for it, and I do have a little bit on Alex Foster, the young man. And before we get into that, there are some details around the death. This is a CNN report. This was posted yesterday evening. And he died. He suffered multiple gunshot wounds in a car in his Mississippi hometown. And that was in Greenville. Now, the Washington County Coroner's Office confirmed to the AP that he was shot dead. He was 18 years old. And this is the underbelly of all this, and this just like, there is a crime aspect to this. The shooting was part of a surge of violent crimes that the Greenville mayor, actually, Eric Simmons, said in an address that threatens the community. Simmons said the city had actually issued a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. to curb the violence, which has the reason behind it is because this was preceded, this incident, by what he called multiple shootings and senseless killings. Now, Greenville, Mississippi, I'm somewhat familiar with this area. I don't want to call it no man's land, but it is a part of the map in America where it's extremely rural. I lived in Monroe, Louisiana for about 2 years, and it is not far from Northeast Louisiana. It's part of that like Arklamis, you're right there. You got Northeast Louisiana, you have Eastern Arkansas, you have Mississippi, and that's where this young guy grew up, and that's where this violence had broken out. He was taken to the hospital, and he died about 30 to 40 minutes after he was taken to the hospital. There's no arrests that have been made so far. Police are still investigating. But just an awful, awful, tragic situation. And to a little bit of this guy as a man, from what I can gather, and also I have a little bit of I don't even want to say I have any kind of understanding what the Baylor football team is going through, but the year after I left the University of Richmond, we had a freshman drown in the lake right after football camp had broken, and I'll get into that a little bit because obviously something when you're close to a program, it just hurts everybody, and everybody comes together, right, to support who they can. Most importantly, this young guy, Alex Foster's family, and for the young men supporting one another. And this kid was not only, from what I've gathered, not only a very good football player, but a very strong young man with integrity and with a huge heart. You look at just his story, okay? He was recruited to play for Dave Aranda, did not get a bunch of playing time last year. In his recruitment by Baylor, he stayed loyal to Baylor because late in the game, he was actually offered by Texas. Okay, so this is a very, very good football player. But the indication of him being a very good man is that he keeps his word to Dave Aranda and Baylor, and he stays the course and goes to Baylor. This is last year. Then played sparingly last year, gets the red shirt, right? I mean, I can tell, having called a Baylor game last year for ESPN, he wasn't on my depth chart, right? If he was, I don't recall it, and I'm pretty good with the recall and understanding and knowing who's on there. However, this year, he was supposed to really make an impact. Cam Stewart, who does Locked On Baylor, and does have journalism in his bones and covers Baylor football extremely close, or is extremely close to Baylor football, talked about yesterday that this was a young guy who was really going to see some playing time this year. And he had reinvested with Baylor. If you're a guy who gets offered by Texas and then you go your freshman year to Baylor and you don't play at all, a lot of guys are going to hit the transfer portal. No knock on them. This guy didn't do that. Okay, he returned to Baylor. He was set to come back in about a week or so, right? And then this tragedy befalls his family. And that's really the most important part of this is how's his family doing? We hope they're doing okay. And, the situation just absolutely blows. And I can tell you, back to the situation I somewhat have a little familiarity with. I just got off the phone with Matt Davis, who was one of my best friends in the world and was the captain of that Richmond football team when Donnie Lindsay, a teammate, drowned in that lake right after football camp broke at Richmond. And I can tell you, I was asking Matt about, he said it was just awful. And he said, being a captain, it gave you an opportunity to serve a little bit more in a tragic time like that. But he said, there's no cure for that kind of grief. And that we're just talking among teammates in the football team. He made a very good point. I asked him what he recalled from that, being on campus as part of the football family. And, this is something, I don't even think we can keep an eye on this, or why would we? It would be like a low rent thing to do. But as far as impact and who it affects, Matt said the Coach Reed, our head coach, was affected the most. Which he said he could kind of see it wearing on him. Because if you're Coach Reed, or if you're Dave Aranda, or if you're any head coach at any level of football, especially big-time football, right? We're talking, Baylor, obviously bigger than Richmond, but we're talking about still you go to your recruit's living room and you offer him a full scholarship, and you look his parents in the eye, you say, I'm going to take care of him, and then something like this happens, it's devastating. And I think that Dave Aranda quite possibly could be hit the hardest by this. And whoever, and I don't know the situation, whoever was hands-on recruiting Alex Foster, that person obviously did a phenomenal job because, and maybe it was Dave Aranda, but the fact that he's offered by Texas after Baylor, he stays loyal. That was reported by CBS Sports. I can read you the quote. Foster was the highest-rated high school signee in the Bears 2024 recruiting class after starring at St. Joseph's High School in Greenville. He remained loyal to Baylor during his recruitment, despite a late offer from Texas and interest from various other elite programs. 24/7 Sports rated the 6'5", 292-pound defender as the number 44 defensive tackle in the 2024 cycle and the 13th best player out of Mississippi. You know, what does all that matter? I mean, nothing now that he's gone. But it is a way to remember and celebrate this young guy because he had a unique skill set on the football field. And I look forward to learning more about what he was like off the field. Because scouring the web and stuff, it was hard to get any real personal stories on this guy. But, you know, heart breaks for his family. That's the most important, right? And, you know, Baylor football, obviously thinking about that program right now. Real tough to move forward after something like that. You know, and the faith and the spirituality and foundation that school is built on, right, will hopefully be the place where everybody can go right now to try to find a little bit of relief, right, and help one another. So that's something I want to talk about off the top. Just sucks, and it's really hard to transition. There's really no way to transition from something like that to sports, but we will. And we'll talk about the NBA Finals, which one team has already punched a ticket. The Thunder are going to the Finals. They beat Minnesota last night. There was a little frustration for me this morning reading the quotes from Anthony Edwards post-game. And it's not what he said. What he did say was he was asked how he felt about it. And he said that he was excited. This is like, you know, how do you feel after this loss? He said, I'm excited. I'm 23. I have the opportunity to continue to do this over and over again. But he kind of said it. We would put it up, but then you two would take it down because we're monetized and it would be a whole deal. But he kind of said it, you know, hey, look, I'm excited. You know, sort of like, get out of here. And he did go on to say, nobody's going to work harder than me this offseason. And he also mentioned that Mike Conley, obviously a veteran, like 18-year veteran, and he said, hey, Mike, you know, I'm sorry for guys like Mike, right, and my teammates. But it was kind of flippant the way he said it, and it's one of those deals that people sink their teeth into this morning, which is complete rubbish, okay? Now, this is a 23-year-old kid. By the way, like rough upbringing. We just talked about that Baylor tragedy. Anthony Edwards, I think his mother and his grandmother died like 18 months apart when he was a young man. So he's a calloused individual. And certainly with a background like that and his ability to persevere through it, probably has some real perspective on what losing the Western Conference Finals is like as compared to real life. The dude is an absolute dog, and he has this thing about him, right? It's called grit. And I, with the opportunity and being as fortunate as I am to work college basketball games for ESPN with his college coach, Tom Crean, who is one of the best dudes in the world, but is also extremely transparent and honest. And, you know, I dug into Coach Crean a little bit because I'm not like anything negative, but hey, what's Anthony Edwards really like? And, you know, look no further than, this is something, I think I wrote it down here. This is what Coach Crean tweeted this after last night's game. And this was in response to the quote that Ann Edwards made following the game that I just talked about. He said, Anthony is not wired to say he's hurting or down or devastated. He doesn't talk that way. I promise you that he's hurting for people like Mike Conley and players he goes to battle with. He is built different as a teammate too. To expand on that, when I worked one game with Coach Crean when we were at North Texas, and Grant McCaslin's the head coach. This is 2-3 years ago. And Coach McCaslin's like, hey, can you talk to the team after shoot-around? And Coach Crean just goes in about Anthony Edwards. Remember, Tom Crean recruited him to Georgia, where Anthony Edwards starred and then was picked obviously so high in the draft. But he talked to these kids and he said, when I was at Georgia coaching Anthony Edwards, after a game, I would be in my office watching film and I would hear the ball bouncing, right? And it was Anthony Edwards. Off season, right? The one guy you leave the light on for that's in the weight room all the time and working his ass off is Anthony Edwards. The guy who's getting shots up before practice, right? Before a game, early into the arena is Anthony Edwards. That's the type of player we're talking about. That is what matters. not some flippant response he made to the media after a loss. I love how we put these guys out there and we expect them to put it so eloquently like War and Peace, right? After their heart gets ripped out in the Western Conference Finals, okay, when you know the whole world is watching and judging you, especially now, and you say, okay, well, if he knows the whole world is watching, why doesn't he watch what he says and do it the right way, right? Like maybe like MJ or Larry Bird, because that's not who the guy is. And by the way, this is the biggest piece of BS I think we have going for us today in media that covers these guys. Oh, we want you to be yourself, right? Please be yourself, be transparent, show us who you are. And the moment a guy does, like Anthony Edwards postgame, we get pissed off. We get pissed. And then, furthermore, to try to call him on the carpet, right? Like he didn't deliver. So Anthony Edwards is 23 years old, okay? And he, without question, needs help. And let me be the guy. I was listening to Michael Wilbon this morning, one of my heroes, and let me jump on his back and be the old guy. Wilbon, way older than me, but I love him. And, I like to think I have the historic range, right? Michael Jordan lost to the Detroit Pistons 3 times in the playoffs, okay? 3 straight times. 5 games, 6 games, and then 7 games, okay? Doug Collins lost his job. Great coach, great basketball mind, but they couldn't get over the hump. Doug Collins is a casualty. They bring in Phil Jackson, Tex Winter, they run the triangle, okay? And guess what? They didn't win either with them. Eventually, they got there when Jordan got the help he needed, the coaching he needed, and obviously for him, the experience that he needed. By the time MJ won a title, he was 28. I was writing it down this morning, okay? Remember, Anthony Edwards is 23. Larry Bird's first title, he was 25, 26 years old. Isaiah Thomas's first title, 28 years old. Kobe, yeah, he was 23 too. But guess what? He had Shaquille O'Neal with him. And Magic Johnson, he was 21. I want to be fair and span the globe. But guess what? Magic had Kareem, right? I mean, so look, what are we talking about here? And maybe I'm preaching to the choir, to some of you who are watching right now, but the overreaction to Anthony Edwards in the wake of that loss last night, and like, oh, it makes me so like, it makes my stomach turn as to where we are right now, and the way that we cover athletes. It's like, and having done PR, right, in the NBA, like, I know what it's like to, after a playoff loss, and I'm not saying I was the main, PR guy, or I'm like Raymond Ritter, who's with the Warriors, who's like an all-time legend. But I was in the room. Hey, Pete, we need you to go get Andre Iguodala. Bring him out to the podium. We just lost our series to the Orlando Magic or the Detroit Pistons. Like, those guys don't want to go out there and talk. That's the last thing they want to do. But they do it. And once in a while, they're going to tell you how they're feeling. God forbid. So then you can judge him and sit around and say, oh, he's not ready. He doesn't have the response that we want, right? He's just not saying what you want to hear. And guess what? He's going to work his ass off. Like I told you, the substance piece that Tom Crean told me, and he shared with that UNT basketball team, right, when he was asked to speak, that nobody is more of a dog than Anthony Edwards. The dude needs help. Right? He needs help, and he'll probably get it, and this will all probably be fine. But if you can't tell, I've got a bug up my ass about this, and I appreciate you guys being a place where I can come and vent. All right, one more thing about the finals before we get to Nick Picht. By the way, that's not a done deal, Indy and New York, so it'll be fun to watch. But Oklahoma City, right? First finals since 2012, which, by the way, is wild. That was my first big sober sporting event. Actually, no. After I got sober, the Super Bowl, Patriots and Giants. My father and my brother, my dad picked me up from the halfway house I was living in at the time, drove me back home to Philly, Baltimore to Philly, like an hour and 25 minutes. And my brother and my dad and I, just the three of us on my birthday in 2012, watched the Super Bowl where the Giants beat the Patriots. Unbelievable. And my father, God bless him, the guy loved his wine. He drank white Zinfandel as he got into his later years because, and I'm sober now. I always say, like, I can go anywhere I want, right? Like, you can go to bars, parties, whatever, as long as I got my stuff together as far as, being connected to my recovery. I've been sober for 13 years now. But my dad was so awesome. God bless you, Joe Sousa. He had his wine. It's a Super Bowl, right? Come on, you want to party. You want to drink a little bit. He had his wine in the other room, so he would go in there and drink it. But he didn't want to drink in front of me at all because he wasn't sure how I would handle it. And the next morning, after that game was over, which was an amazing experience, I loved it. At the time, it was February, so November, December, January, February. I was probably about 3 or 4 months sober. The next morning, my dad drove me back to the halfway house, and I started my shift at KFC. That's February of 2012. My second big sporting event, I guess I'm the NBA Finals or the NCAA tournament too, but whatever. My first NBA Finals, where I was a sober man, able to look at the NBA and the league a little differently, was the Thunder and the Heat. And man, that Thunder team was so amazing. So amazing, right? You had KD, you had James Harden, you had Russell Westbrook. You just knew you had something special. But as much as those guys were superstars, they were not connected like this Thunder team is. They were not connected like this Thunder team is. We talked to Chris Williams from Oklahoma City, CBS sports reporter down there, and the defense and the togetherness that the Oklahoma City Thunder share. By the way, the youngest team, the second youngest team ever to make the NBA Finals, but it's bigger than them, right? It's bigger than them. Like, the charge and the momentum behind these guys is bigger than them. And as much as it was a star-studded affair when the Thunder went to play the Heat with those studs, I think they even had Perk on the team. I know they did. Who's a star in his own right today. They were no match for the Heat. But this Oklahoma City team this year, they are a match for whoever they will face in the finals, more than likely Indiana. And I go back to what Charles Barkley has been saying. This looks like it is the Oklahoma City Invitational. We will find out. By the way, NBA, if the Knicks win tonight, if the Pacers win tonight, it's Thursday. We got to wait a whole week now for the NBA Finals to start. The NBA used to have it where they would, if both teams won early, they would bounce it up a little bit. No more. The Stanley Cup still does that. No more. The finals will start on Thursday, which gives the momentum a chance to kind of cool off. I wish they would just keep it rolling, but I know there's all kinds of other stuff out there. So anyways, NBA, Anthony Edwards, get off his ass. By the way, they were running, I'm not John Wooden, but I was watching last night, and I could tell they were literally running a box and one. Lou Dort was in his face, and everybody else was playing zone. That's a tough way to get yours, right? All right, we're getting ours with Nick Picht. All right, the Emmy award-winning journalist is going to talk to us about all things Major League Baseball. I got to ask this dude about Aaron Rodgers. He's a Steelers fan, and more. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacek's, coming back. We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top-quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desk, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internext.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now.
And now, back to our show. Nick, let's go. The Emmy Award winning. Come on.
I gotta back myself up. I gotta back myself up.
Dude.
Relax.
Up, bro.
Relax. Dude, I got my peasant headphones on today. I broke my AirPods.
You
Tight.
still sound great, and you look good. You're really going for that look, right? The kind of like European look.
Sure, we can go with that. A Euro step on these hoes.
Did you get engaged yet?
No, dude.
Come on, man.
Don't blow my cover.
All right, I won't blow your cover. I can't wait though. So Nick,
Dude, you were pumped up about Ann Edwards. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
well, I was, because some stuff, like certain stuff will grab me. I usually don't do like silly rants like that, but if there's one place to do it, it's here. Stop picking your nails, dude. If there's one place to do it, it's here, and that does really annoy me. I feel like it's such a reach for people to start talking shit.
Well, also, like, they scored, 126 points in game 4. Their offensive efficiency ratings were, through the roof. They had 4 bench players score 20 points, and, I don't know. It's just ridiculous, but whatever.
The Thunder may just be that buzzsaw, dude. I mean,
dude, they're nasty, huh? They might even be better, in 2 years.
Well, I would focus on the now because they're so good.
Before we get on MLB, and I think it's great that maybe if the Pacers do win tonight, it affords MLB and the Yankees and the Dodgers a whole weekend in the sports limelight. But the Thunder from 2012, didn't that team feel a little bit like how the Thunder from this year felt last year? Just not all the way put together. And I would have loved to see Harden, Westbrook, and Durant get one more crack at it, kind of like we're seeing, because it's pretty obvious that SGA, J-Dub, and Chet are a fully functioning big three now.
Yes, but guess what? Westbrook and Durant were, for whatever reason, and we could probably nail it down if we took 2 minutes, had way more star appeal. SGA,
I mean, yeah. Well, they're just.
SGA
I mean,
he's not. I hate to. We hear this term now. He's not box office, dude.
God, I love it though. I love it so much. It actually makes me love him more. How little he talks and how little nonsense there is about him. It makes me love him so much more. I love SGA, dude.
You do?
Yeah.
All right,
he's so good, so damn good.
Let's talk baseball, and then I do want to ask you about some NFL stuff, and we'll go around with some potpourri.
Sure.
The Yankees and Aaron Judge.
Yes.
This is a new and improved version of last year's team. There's no question about that. Why are they better than last year at this point? I mean, how many series have they won in a row?
I think it's 7 now. It's 7 or 8. 7 or 8, but they haven't done that in God knows how long. I heard the stat on it, but I forget. It slips my brain. I think they're better. And I texted my boy this, who he and I are hard in on the Yanks every night. I'm skeptical because we've seen the Yankees in 23, they did it. In 22, they did it. Just kind of have that second half collapse for whatever reason. It makes no sense. But this team feels pretty dangerous. And I think it's because their bullpen is very, very good. It's the most comfortable I've felt in the 9th inning watching a game since Rivera. Because Weaver is unbelievable, dude. And their bullpen is great. The up and down in the lineup is pretty good. There's athleticism, there's speed, there's defense. There's a lot of solid play all around. And Judge is, the best player in baseball. So that helps, doesn't it? When you have a guy hitting 460 games through the season. He got a base hit the other night. Now he's under 400 because he went 0 for 2 last night. But at one point, I think it was, what's today? Today's Thursday. So Tuesday, he got a base hit against the Angels, and it brought him to 80, for 200 on the season. 80 hits and 200 at bats is pretty insane.
So why is he flourishing like this year? A couple questions on him. Like why what have you noticed from somebody who watches every game and has been all over this team forever? What's the difference?
Well, he changed his swing a ton. And that guy is all over Twitter, that teacher man guy that people shit on constantly. And like he and Judge have changed his swing. So if you look at his stance and his swing from when he came up in 2016 to now, it's dramatically different. Where his hands are, where his front foot is, all of those things are like actually technically different. So if you go side by side, you'll see a distinct difference. He chases that low and away slider a lot less. That used to get him out all the time. You just go up there, flip him a couple sliders low and away, and he was just fishing. But he stopped doing that. His pitch recognition is so much better. And he became a superstar. So I think, what's like chicken or egg, but like the stopped calling that low strike on him that used to just get him behind in counts and sometimes would take him out of counts because they'd call that low strike on him, which was never a strike. And now he's getting that call. And so 0-1 to 1-0 or 2-1 to 1-2 or just like such a huge difference in every count. So that's helped a bunch too. And I think just like a natural progression of a player getting really good at his craft.
What's up with Soto? Do you guys like miss him? Do you not miss him?
Dude, he doesn't occupy not 1 ounce in my brain. Don't care. I have no idea what his numbers are. I have no idea what he's doing with the Mets. Couldn't give a shit less.
Okay. You sound like a guy who broke up with the girl who blocked her on Instagram. Like, let's be real about this. How does he impact the Yankees on the field and their win total, not being a member of the team this year? Does he?
Well, he doesn't impact us at all because he is not a member of the team. Okay. It's over.
Am I talking to Nick Picht or Brian Cashman?
What do you want to know, though? Like, I mean, like, what? Well, I can tell you that he's not a good defender. So getting Judge back in right field was big. Getting Grisham or whoever else playing center who's a good defensive center fielder makes the defense better. That's just facts. And it's pretty clear if you look at what Soto's doing now to what Soto did last year, that he benefited from having Aaron Judge hitting behind him. It's very obvious. I mean, you can't look at the numbers and say no. Has Soto gotten probably a little unlucky, I guess, so far with some of his like batted ball data? Now I'm getting way in the weeds. Yeah, probably so. But you're seeing Alonso have the benefit of hitting behind Soto in the reverse way, where you saw Soto have the benefit of hitting in front of Judge last year.
And,
so it's kind of,
as a baseball guy, do you look at that as is it at all a knock on Alonso, or is
no? It's actually it's just more of a testament to how good Aaron Judge is.
Okay.
Alonso's awesome. Like, Alonso's one of those guys you want hitting behind. I mean, he drives and runs. He hits for power. He can handle New York. New York is a tough market, dog. Yeah. And, like, Alonso is a good player in New York. I like Pete Alonso. I always like Pete Alonso.
You had to move to Kentucky.
That's right. It pushed me out.
You are.
I crumbled. You
got New York in your bones, dude. All right. So, before we talk about this weekend series, what's the health of Major League Baseball right now? You know, that deal falling through is concerning, right? We talked about it months ago, but it still is something for me from 30,000 feet. It's like, how is MLB gonna work through this? You know,
I don't know.
What's the state of Major League Baseball right now?
I think it's good though, man. I mean, there's so many good young players, and there's so many stars. MLB has a marketing problem, not a product problem, in my opinion. But also, if I have to listen to Carl Ravitch for much longer on Sunday Night Baseball, I mean, I'm going to jump into a campfire.
Why don't you like Carl Ravitch?
Oh, dude, he's brutal, dude. He and Eduardo Perez are brutal.
Really?
Yes. Where's John Miller and Joe Morgan when you need them? Goodness. I think I don't know if it's as much Carl Ravitch as much as it is ESPN is literally just the gimmick network now. So everything they do has got to have a full screen graphic and all these weird cartoons and animations, and it's stupid.
They're trying to do exactly what you're talking about as the deficit. They're trying to market this product.
But that's not it, dude. I don't need to see a superhero Aaron Judge wearing a cape with giant muscles
I do, and
drawn
I'm 48. I love
That's
that
because
shit.
you're part. You're that. Well, I mean, it's an IQ problem, I guess. No, I'm teasing. I don't know. I really cannot stand ESPN's product of Sunday Night
So are
Baseball.
you? So that means you're looking forward. I would disagree with you, but so you're looking forward to a change in dynamic as far as the
Yeah, yeah,
broadcasting.
yeah. For sure. Definitely for sure. I just think MLB itself needs more marketing. I don't think MLB needs to be marketed by ESPN. I think MLB needs to take control of its players in the sense of like, here are the superstars of our game, and you need to learn more about them in an organic way.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Like when I was a kid, Nick, I'll tell you, like I
Like
was
why
obsessed.
every person doesn't know about Paul Skeens, and maybe they do because of Livy Dunn and she's hot and she's all over the internet. But like Paul Skeens is so good, dude.
Well, dude,
But
that's the point. See, that is a ready-made like
it's crazy.
superstar story. He's dating
Yeah.
one of the most famous women in the world. And
Literally.
he's one of the best pitchers we've had in the last like decade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Zach,
maybe
what do you think?
more,
Zach's
maybe
over there.
20
Hold on.
years.
Zach is dying to say something.
But it's the market he's in. He's in Pittsburgh. It's a known
It's-
team that's never going to, like,
Yeah,
they've
he's in
gone
he's
back
in
to
a
his
death
Xavier
hole.
and 80. They were just waiting for that contract to be done for him to get out of it. I mean, it's what they do there.
Yeah.
So Paul Skeens
Yeah.
is never going to be worth a hill of beans in Pittsburgh just because they're going to use his best time and he's
Yeah.
going to put up Cy Young performances and they will win 68 games a year.
You know what's crazy too is that like Max Fried's been the best pitcher statistically in baseball over the past 10 or so years. And like, yeah, he won a World Series with the Braves. He's won multiple Gold Gloves. He's been in the Cy Young conversation. And like it feels very much like no one gave a damn until he put the pinstripes on. And now everyone's like, oh my God, who's Max Fried? It's like, who's Max Fried? Dude, like, have you been living under a rock?
Yeah, it bums me out that I'm not more up to speed on this.
But like ESPN painting him as a caricature, like he's, super tall, like beanstalk that is going to sprout leaves and all the leaves are going to show his like statistics on them. Like we don't need that. That's stupid and corny.
Nick, I think you're brilliant and you know how much I love you. I couldn't disagree more. That's exactly.
That's embrace
that's
debate.
Not hurting the game. That's not hurting the game. People don't see that and think, "Oh, I'm not going to watch." Maybe purists like you who are going to come back to the table regardless.
No,
Maybe
I'll
you're
just
a
watch it on.
prodigy
I'll
like
just
Bob
watch it on
Costas.
mute.
Like, we
No,
don't need that anymore.
old pink eye Costas. Yeah, he is happy. They are happy. Everyone is happy, and you can tell he hates the Yanks. Like, it's just
Do you miss Costas this year?
No, dude. It is a blessing that he's gone. Thank the good Lord that I don't have to hear any more Bob Costas.
Who would you rather, Bob Costas or Carl Ravitch?
Dude, that's tough. That's tough. They're up there in my terms, in my on hatred level.
Costas.
Gotta be Costas though.
That's because I just love Costas. All right, so why? Okay, that's pretty good assessment of like the overall health of baseball right now. One more question for you before we move on to the Yankees Dodgers series.
Yeah.
How would you improve the marketing in Major League Baseball if you were in charge?
I think it's got to be a full on like social media TikTok campaign. I think as created and originated by Major League Baseball. And I'm not on TikTok because I have a PhD in maturity, but I think it needs to be like a full-fledged, like get to know the guys and here they are and hear it from their voices and show us cool stuff about them and show, again, I think it needs to be like a real social media barrage.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
No, why I'm not seeing more and more of Paul Skeens and his, I think it's his wife or fiance running around is beyond me for a sport that's hurting, right?
Yeah.
Like you would think you'd see a little bit more of that, but
totally.
all right,
but I do think the game is in good place. Like I think you're going to see some weekend. I think the Yankees and Dodgers are going to do some numbers. Like I really do. I don't have yes all week. I think it's Prime, Apple TV, and then Sunday Night Baseball.
Well, so what do you make of that? I mean, that's Sunday Night Baseball is great, but Prime and Apple, I mean.
Yeah, well, MLB wants you talking about money, man. They got what everybody got a piece of the pie, and I think Apple and Prime pay pretty good for a couple games a year. Whatever. I mean, the NFL's doing the same thing. They got Christmas Day games on goddamn YouTube this year.
But the NFL is in much better.
No. I get it. I'm just saying it's the same concept.
Yeah. Look, I want to see. I was raised on This week in baseball and the baseball bunch and Monday Night Baseball.
Bro, you know what's crazy is that I watched the Diamondbacks. This is like, I'm such a weird person. Like, I watched the Diamondbacks on their regional network through MLB TV.
Yeah.
And their play-by-play guy due to Steve Berthume. So every time I hear Steve Berthume, the old Baseball Tonight, be like, fill thine horn with oil and go. Like,
yes,
every
and you know
day,
who did
dude.
it before him was Mel Allen, your boy.
Yes, dude.
So
yes.
That's who. By the way, who's your favorite play-by-play guy in Major League Baseball right now?
Joe Davis is the cop-out answer. But I do like Joe Davis. I really like Steve Berthume. Steve Berthume's awesome, dude. The NL West has some good ones because the Giants guy's good too. I forget his name.
What about Dave Sims? How do you like him?
He's good, but I don't listen to the radio, so I don't really listen to Dave Sims. I love your boys up there.
In Philly?
MacArthur and John Kruk are
Dude, awesome.
they're hilarious. Yeah,
They
John
do a really
Kruk
good
is
job.
they're awesome. Who else? I like Boo Shambi a lot.
Yeah.
Boo's great. Big Brian Anderson fan too in Milwaukee. And BA does all like he does like some of the MLB NBA playoff stuff. So I love me some BA.
Dude, he's in Roland Garros right now. He's doing the French Open.
I know. Yeah, I love BA. So those are some good. Those are definitely some good ones.
We were repped by the same agency, but the guy who was repping me left the agency. So I had like a little connection to Brian.
You were 1 degree of separation. That's how they say it in the business.
All right, let's get to I want to talk to you about the NFL and the Steelers. Talk to me a little bit about how you feel as a Steelers fan. And it's amazing. You can ask 10 people this question. I feel like you got 5 that say we should wait for Aaron Rodgers and 5 that say we're the Steelers, we should move on. Where are you in the Aaron Rodgers situation?
I think my ultimate take, and I've thought about this a lot because we have to hear every person talk about it, is
Zach, take the MLB thing down?
I don't care.
Okay.
I literally do not care. If they want to wait for him and he comes, then the Steelers are a 10 to 11 win team and probably a playoff contender. If he doesn't come, the Steelers may win 6 games and finally be in position to trade for a franchise or trade up in the draft or just get naturally bad enough to draft a franchise-changing quarterback. I think it's either way a win-win.
What did you think about what Terry Bradshaw had to say?
Don't care. Terry Bradshaw is off his rocker, dude.
He's actually younger than I thought. He's 76.
Dude, how about Terry Bradshaw having like the natural connection with Phil Robertson?
Oh, what's the natural connection? Were they both in the same place?
Well, yeah, they played in the same Tech
Rustin.
football team together. Yeah, they played on Louisiana Tech's football team.
So Phil's just passed away, right?
Yeah.
Are you upset about that?
No, I mean, it's sad to see anybody pass away, but yeah.
By the way, serious question. And so this
I don't care. I don't know. I just don't care. We got to fill the media cycle with like Aaron Rodgers this or the Dallas Cowboys that or Luka Doncic is skinny now or like how does Oklahoma City winning the title affect LeBron's legacy? Like I don't care, dude. I don't care.
Well, how about the Steelers? Like and Aaron Rodgers, a 43-year-old playing quarterback for you. Do you think that he has a skill set? Like could he? Because the Steelers are like sort of win now. Right? So,
it's so weird. The team is win now, but your starting quarterback as it currently stands is either a career backup or 6th round rookie. Like that part
Will Howard, baby.
I do like Will Howard.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense to me. Dude, Will Howard on Gruden was really good. The Gruden like quarterback room thing.
He's a Philly guy, Will Howard. And Big
Will Howard's a smart kid for sure. But like that part doesn't make sense. So if you want to talk X's and O's and you want to talk about football, like I love football, look, the Steelers have a huge conundrum because their roster is excellent, but they have no quarterback. So, like, what do you do?
So is that why do you – let me
ask you have no other options. It's either at this point it's Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins.
Well, but for, a lot of people are talking about, like, how prestigious the Steelers are.
Well, sure.
This organization should not have to hang around and wait for –
That's a stupid argument. It's a stupid idiot argument.
Okay. So you don't.
The guy's what is he, a 4-time MVP or 3-time?
Yeah, but he's 43 and we haven't seen him do anything.
Dude, but what are their other options, dude?
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph, I love Mason Rudolph. Great backup. He's not going to turn the ball over. It's going to be fine. You're not going to win games with Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Or
And
a
everybody,
rookie.
by
A
the way,
rookie's never won the Super Bowl. So if
to
you
your
think Will
point-
Howard's going in there, just flinging the ball around, it's just not going to happen.
And to your point, everybody talks tough, right around Memorial Day or June, but talk to me, in November.
Yeah. You cut out on me? Damn, Pete.
Did you know nearly all stock price changes of 10% or more result from a single news headline? These news catalysts create trading opportunities every day. All you need is a little help to reach out and take them. It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
OsleyMD.com.
I've always had thin hair my whole life. It breaks off at a certain length. In the last 6 months, I've noticed it just really bad. I mean, you could totally see it. I wear a hat a lot. I tried several different products. My experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
OsleyMD.com.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internix.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress. It's like a wearable hug for your nervous system that helps you calm down and feel better. The Apollo wearable will send gentle vibrations to your body, like a song you can feel instead of hear. You feel better, you sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online...
Hey, Nick, we're back, dude.
And we're back.
And we're back on the Jack and Rod show. All right, so ultimately, you're good with the Steelers. Just wait. Stop picking your nails, dude. Did you ever do that when you were winning an Emmy? Like,
Yeah.
seriously.
That's how I got my way there.
All right,
Bit my
so-
nails all the way there.
I mean, Jesus Christ. You're like my buddy Cam Stewart, the guy who does Locked on Baylor. I'll talk to him and he starts yawning. Yeah, like, give me a break. So you're fine with the Steelers just playing the waiting game.
What else? Literally, what else are you going to do at this point?
All right, let's run the gamut with you because after we lost you, I'm bringing you back. We'll just kind of close.
Yeah, you're
out
right.
with
You can't do this 30-second nonsense with me because I know you do that. You'd be like, all right, thanks, bud. Finish up your point. 30 seconds later, get the fuck out of here.
I want to hit you with a couple hot topics. Some of them may be a little stale, but I haven't talked to you about them yet.
Okay.
Bill Belichick. Okay.
Oh boy,
Like, do
dude.
you
My boy Pablo Torre's on some kind of rampage about this, huh?
So you went to Regis, as did
Uh-huh.
Pablo Torre.
Yeah.
two esteemed journalists, one a little more notable than the other. Pablo has got his teeth in this story and is not letting go. What do you make of that as a journalist and also a Regis dude?
I don't know, man. I mean, I definitely commend Pablo because it's for sure weird. I think a lot of people want to know what's going on between those two. I think he has a journalist instinct that something is afoot, if you will. Maybe some sort of malfeasance or some sort of money being exchanged in the wrong place might be something. And I just, you know what, at this point, let's see it through.
Is Pablo, so is he after clicks or is he after the truth?
Pablo, I don't know, dude. I mean, I would hope the truth. That would make me feel the best in my heart of hearts, but I don't know. I'm certainly seeing a lot more Pablo Torre than I have in the past couple of years, though. That's for sure. And I like Pablo's a good dude.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're never one to bite your tongue, even if you're talking about a fellow Regis alum. Like, what was your feeling about Pablo Torre prior to this?
I thought Pablo did a damn good job at like in-depth journalism.
Yeah.
He came to speak to my class when I was in high school. Good dude, lots of good advice. Shared a couple of of his good stories with us. He did a really nice piece for SI. Like that's what got him kind of famous, if you will, about like why athletes go broke. And I thought that was super insightful. And I always thought that Regis guys usually have a little depth to them. So but I haven't seen him or heard from him in a really long time. So, and I don't mean like he didn't hit my line. I just mean like I haven't seen him on ESPN or, because he's not with ESPN anymore. And I haven't seen anything with him. So this is the first time I've seen him in a couple of years.
I get a feeling that North Carolina kind of messed with the wrong guy when they pushed back and said that she wasn't banned.
Dude, the FOIA request though. How about that for some big J journalism?
There you go, dude. And we know, you and I know this, you better than me, but just being in a newsroom when somebody talks about a FOIA request, we're like, oh, what a pain in the ass. We're not going to get it for who knows how long, and everybody's going to try to stop us from doing it, but it's part of the job. If you want to get to the bottom of shit, you really have to try
Dude,
to take full advantage of what's public.
Yeah. And I guess they're a public institution, or else they wouldn't be legally required to give him that. For people who don't know what that is, a FOIA is a Freedom of Information Act request, and that's what journalists file to get documents that otherwise wouldn't be shared with the public.
What do you think is going to be the end game of this Bill Belichick thing?
Dude,
by the way,
don't
June
know.
1st, he can pay $1 million and get out of North Carolina if he feels like
can't they pay him $1 million and get rid of him?
No, he would pay $1 million to be out of there because that's a clause he had in his contract. Initially, it was thought that would be for him to quite possibly seek an NFL job, right? Now it's kind of the reverse. It's like
right.
He may do that just to get out of there because he doesn't like maybe the lack of control he has now with the Jordan Hudson thing kind of being pushed back a little bit on him. But what do you think the end game will be?
What do I think is ultimately going to happen? We're going to come to a point, be it June 1st in 3 days, or some point in the middle of the year where they're going to have to come to the either she's out or you're out. And I think that at some point that will happen. When? I don't know. But I think there's too much paint on the walls.
If you were going after this story, I joke around, but you won an Emmy. I mean, that's very, very high praise. Would you be digging like this, like Pablo is, even if it was a story like this that seemed like sort of sensational? How would you feel?
I don't know.
About
If it piqued my interest enough, yeah, why not? And but then it's like, well, then if you're lying to me, then there's more, then something's going on, and I'm going to try to find out the truth. And I think maybe that's kind of how this whole thing started. Pablo started poking around, asking questions, feeling like maybe he wasn't being told the whole truth, and it's like, okay, now it's time for me to put my hat on and see what actually is going on. Is she on the payroll? I don't have no idea.
Or do you think that this is a story I guess you're right. It is sort of like a big money could be if they're lying and they're smoke and mirrors, as a journalist, you want to find out what this is.
I think every story is worth sniffing out, and Pablo is clearly not done sniffing it all the way out. Dude, people do crazy. I haven't spoken to my dad. I don't think my dad could give a damn less. My dad texted me. Oh, I'm on my phone, or else I'd tell you what he texted me this morning. He's
What'd
like,
he say?
"Good morning, Yankees bats cold, Schmidt hot." Like, just like that's like, thanks, Dad. I know. I watched.
Walter Picht, former
Like, I
New
know.
York City police
Yeah,
officer.
dude.
Total
Like,
stud.
thanks, dude. And then it'd be like, the other night he texted me, Oilers, Panthers, Yankees. That was it. That was just like 3 words.
So that's what he was watching, dude.
Or yeah, but my dad doesn't care
No,
about
I guess
Jordan
not,
Hudson.
because if he was the Oilers and the Panthers didn't play on the same night. Yeah, that is
Yeah. It's like so weird. But like,
no, they're all
people
hot.
do.
We're
People
playing
do.
a game with your dad now. What do those 3 things have in common? They're all
Right.
hot. The Oilers,
People-
the Panthers, and the Yanks.
People do crazy things. People do weird things. People do bad things. Good people do bad things. Bad people do good things. I think every story has possibility, and every story needs to get sniffed out, because anyone's capable of doing anything. You ever have a best friend betray you and you're like, wow, my best friend did that to me, somebody I thought I trusted. Imagine what someone else could do to me.
Yeah.
Imagine someone I don't know could do to me. I think curiosity is good for the most part. And probably the start of every giant story is curiosity. I mean, don't get me down a political rant, but like Watergate happened, right? And like Watergate probably started out of curiosity. This whole Joe Biden auto pen thing, who knows where that leads? It's going to take a good journalist to sniff it out for once and for all.
Do we still have those good journalists out there that can actually break a story like that?
Sure, there are plenty of smart people out there, but the problem is that many of them work for companies that have vested interests in the thing they're going after, which is why Pablo has no interest in UNC. What does Pablo care about the health and wealth of UNC football? It takes sort of that independent eye to look at something and be like, this doesn't make sense. I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna look into it.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, you're right, because he's not affiliated with, a
No,
huge
who cares?
conglomerate that has some kind of relationship with UNC through like a contract, or, you know what I mean? A TV contract or something.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right, Nick, that's a great point. We're going to let you go now. It's noon. It's time for lunch, buddy.
Yeah, you've had enough. No, I got meetings to get into. I have work to do.
All right, well, look.
I don't get to
soon.
yap into a microphone all day long, all right? Those days are over.
Hey, it's appreciated, buddy. All right, get engaged. I'll talk
Go
to you soon.
Yankees.
All right, go Yanks later. All right, that does it for Nick Picht. That also does it for us today. Thanks so much for rock and rolling with the Pete Sousa Show. Stay tuned. Our boy Cam is coming up next. The Cam Show. He'll talk to you about all kinds of stuff you don't want to hear about. Sometimes when you listen to Cam, it sounds like a compelling bitch fest for like an hour, which can be interesting. I mean, I grew up listening to sports talk radio in Philly like that. So check out the Cam Show. And we'll be back tomorrow talking to former NBA executive Matt Babcock about the NBA draft and NBA basketball overall. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovakics, returns in 23 hours.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference, because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.